Hello guys, this is Hexagon0 and welcome back to another episode of Multiplayer Mondays. Yeah, it's a Tuesday, shit. Anyway, you're looking at the screen now going, what the hell, Hex never flies. Well, that's true, but I've actually been practicing with the helicopter and I've gotten a lot better. I'm able to take off reasonably well now. Anyway, this is my favorite map in the world. Anyway, I'm playing on Parcel Storm in a helicopter, and I've actually got the anti-vehicle build on right now. So it's got the cannons on the front and heat-seeking air-to-ground missiles, as you can see there. And I actually didn't expect that. I expected to spawn in with my anti-infantry, anti-air build. Actually, with my anti-infantry, anti-ground build, which is chain guns and the miniguns and this rocket right here that I fire. And I forget that it's a fire and forget rocket, but whatever. Anyway, so I do a fairly good job, I think, of this, and then I make the stupid mistake of trying to take on an attack boat while on a chopper when I'm not that good at aiming, especially at moving targets. And what happens essentially is that the gunners on that boat decide to blow me the hell up. At least they decide to start the pain, and then I get hit by something. I'm not exactly sure what, but it sends me spiraling. I'm going, come on, get up, get up, get up. There we go, I start to get up, and I'm trying to go behind this ship to essentially hide from the lock-ons, and I'm getting hit all over the place. And eventually, I end up over here. Ship, and the helicopter explodes. Why? Because this little bugger was sitting in the seat and shooting me with the minigun. Anyway, and wow, I'm flying again. This is actually I just wanted to show that little clip that I had of Parcel Storm, but this is a high-end resort, and that's what the rest of the gameplay was going to be. And this is what happens when I get in jets. Just allow me to point that out. Now I'm a fairly good pilot. But when you get someone who actually knows what the hell they're doing on my tail, I'm fucked. Mr. EMD, with the awesome emblem right there, was very apt at knocking me out of the sky and putting me back where I belong on the ground, or in a helicopter, I don't know. Whatever, I can fly them, but not that well. Anyway, you may be wondering, where the heck have I been for the past couple of days? Well, I have been in multiple places, but where I've not been on YouTube is any of my main series or anything that's essentially filmed on my main computer. Do you want to know why? Glad you asked. For those of you who do not follow my blog, and if you don't, then you really should, because that's where I put all the big important stuff like this, my computer for a while now has been having troubles. Now, what it normally did is that whenever I turned it on, it would, it would turn on and everything. It would go through the post, it would do USB checks and all that. The keyboard light would come on, but there would be nothing outputted through the video card. There would be nothing appearing on the monitors. And if you hit the power button, it would just immediately turn off. There would be no delay as it tried to shut down other programs and other systems. It would just be click, off. Not click, wait a couple of seconds, off. So that happened for a while, and eventually I got a little bit fed up with it. I took it out to clean it, and while I had it out, and then I cleaned it out, I decided to reseed a couple of things, because sometimes that'll fix the issue. So I took out my graphics card, cleaned it off a little bit, then put it back in, and then when I tried to boot it up again, after 10 seconds it would shut down. Now at this point I'm going, oh shit, I really screwed myself here, so I yank it back out again, I open it up, I check all the connections again, I check to make sure everything's good, and then I notice that there's enough dust underneath my CPU heatsink to form a small cat. So I take off the heatsink and clean out all the dust, put the heatsink back on. For those of you who are really experienced with building computers, you will know my first mistake here. And then I go to boot it back up again, and it doesn't. It just 10 seconds off, 10 seconds off. Okay. So, and I screw with it for a couple of days, and eventually I get it to display one thing. It shows me the BIOS setup screen, and then it says, check some error. And now I googled it, and checksum error means that essentially the small battery on your motherboard that powers like the clock and a whole bunch of stuff and assists in startup is dead, essentially. So I went out, bought another battery, put it back in, set it all up again, turned it on. It worked fine, and then 10 seconds later, as I was trying to get into the BIOS setup screen, because you have to reset CMOS after putting in the battery. You don't have to, but I think you should. And then it turned off again. The problem, after a couple of days of actually sitting on this, was I had not reapplied thermal paste in between the CPU and the heatsink. Oops. So, whenever the CPU got too hot, because the CPU, upon startup, gets really hot really quickly, and if the fan isn't on there to cool it, or at least take the heat away, the computers have something built in that will automatically shut themselves down so you don't accidentally fry your CPU, or whatever component is in there is too hot. So, I went out today, I bought, because I actually ran out of thermal paste, I bought more thermal paste, and I bought isopropyl alcohol 99% to clean off the remainder thermal paste, and that's what I'm going to do right after filming, narrating this episode. I'm going to take it out, degunk everything, put it back on, and hopefully it'll start working again, assuming I don't screw up the thermal paste. So, I've been on my laptop for the past couple days, and then I did say on my blog that I would be still posting Battlefield stuff, essentially stuff that's filmed on my laptop. And I haven't been. You want to know why? Because like a week ago now, I was running a 103-degree fever. That's hot. So after I got out of it, of course, with a fever, your immune system is weakened, trying to combat it, and I got sick, essentially, because my immune system was weak enough to accept something else. So, not accept it, just not be strong enough to stop it. So I got sick, and then I lost my voice, and it was altogether a pretty terrible time. So, yeah, I got my voice back pretty quickly, but I was still coughing like crazy, and I didn't really feel like narrating anything when I was, because you guys remember, in fact, it was still kind of going on when my computer, just before my computer died. And not really died, just had some issues. Is that I would have to rotate the microphone up like this. And essentially that. And I didn't want to do that again, except having to do it really frequently, so now I've pretty much fixed it. I don't cough anymore, really, thanks to a large number of medications and a whole bunch of other stuff. So, yeah, that's good. Anyway, I thought I would talk about, since I've had so much computer issues lately, and I just remembered today that my motherboard and CPU are 8 years old, I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do this summer. And what am I going to do this summer? I'm going to update the crap out of my hardware. So, I am going to be updating the motherboard, CPU, my RAM, the case, and my graphics card, because your computer, they say 3 years, you can get away with 4 or 5. And I'm hitting 8 right now, so you know that shows you something if you know how to take care of your computer. But they say every 3 years you should update your computer and hardware, and I believe that 100% if you're in for your graphics card, for just your graphics card. Maybe your hard drives or something. Hard drives is really every 2 years, but no one really talks about that because hard drives last a bloody long time. SSD is a little bit more volatile, but yeah. Bleh. Anyway, graphics card every 3 years, the rest of it, yeah, 4 or 5. Really at your leisure, whenever it needs to be replaced, really. So anyway, I'm going to replace the motherboard, and I've been, past couple weeks on my laptop, I've been looking around for suitable replacements, and I've decided on the MSI Gaming 5 motherboard, and, yeah, so it's a really good motherboard. And then it's got compatibility with the Intel Devil's Canyon CPUs, and I've been looking at those going, I could wait for Broadwell, but the whole purpose of Broadwell, it seems to me, is to mobile devices CPU. That's what it looks like. So I'm going to go, you know what, I'm going to stick with the Devil's Canyon. So I'm going to get the Intel Core i7 4790K, and there have been troubles. The 4770K is what I would have gone with. It's slightly, actually I think they're the same price, but I kind of wanted to go with the 4770K, but then I looked it up further, and it said it'll have a whole bunch of heating issues and stuff like that, so the 4790K was better. So, I'm going to get the 4790K, And my RAM, I'm currently running a 2 triple channel 6 gigabyte RAM kits. So, hello, Mr. EMD. Yeah, so that in total makes up 12 gigabytes. Now the MSI Gaming 5 motherboard is dual channel. Well, my RAM that I have, the 12, it's 6 RAM cards essentially. Each of them, what, 4? No, 3. No, 2. 1.5. Yeah, 1.5 gigs. I don't know. Not 1.5. Each of them 2 gigs. I cannot do math. Okay. Anyway, so I'm going to be updating to the Corsair Vengeance Pro Black 16 gigabyte dual channel memory. So that's 2 8 gigabyte RAM sticks. Yeah. Anyway, the case, I currently have an Antec 902. That's not 902, that's 902. Like as in version 2. Mid-tower gaming case. And so I'm going to be updating to the Corsair's Graphite 760T full tower gaming case. Although I am debating whether or not just to downgrade to the 730 because, I mean, my computer fits under my desk. That's where my computer's going to go. And if the difference between the 760T and the 730T is that the 730T does not have a clear side panel. And I wanted the clear side panel, and then I realized, wait, what's the point being able to show off your stuff inside your computer if no one can see it because it's underneath your desk? So I think I'm just going to downgrade to this. Not really downgrade, it's the same case, just with the side panel. And, oh, it does have performance fans. I don't know, maybe I will get the 760T, because it has a button on the top that allows you to change fan speeds, but I can do that from BIOS anyway. Or I can do that from the MSI's motherboard anyway. Yeah, I'll make the decision later. And then the big kahuna, the graphics card. Currently I have a XFX 7870? Yeah, 7870 double D, that's double dissipation by the way, graphics card. And 2 gigs of memory, all that stuff. So it was fairly good at the time. It was 1 generation behind, like, if I was to speak about generations with GPUs, it was 1 generation behind of current gen for GPUs. So it was a really good card for the time. Now, it's 3 years later, this August? September? Somewhere in there. So yeah, I need to replace it. Because I only just squeaked under the minimal GPU settings for Watch Dogs. And when that happens, it gives me a little bit of a clue. Now, the reason why I didn't go with current gen 3 years ago is because, well, I don't really need it. Because the current gen for GPUs always seems to have a little bit of finicky, a little bit of problems here and there. So, I went with last gen, A, because it was a lot cheaper, and B, because it was tried and true. So, I am going to be doing, it's not technically last gen yet, it's still current gen, but I'm going to be not taking the NVIDIA route as I had originally planned. I'm going to be going with the Sapphire R9 290 Tri-X GPU. Now, I'm sure you've all, for those of you who are more interested in gaming, have heard that there is the AMD Radeon R9 290 X2, and that's an absolute beast of a GPU that has to be water-cooled minimally just to get it to deal with the heat. And you may be wondering, well, Hex, if you kind of want top-of-the-line stuff, why don't you go with that? Well, A, I don't want top-of-the-line stuff, because top-of-the-line stuff has issues, and B, it's $1,300! I don't have that kind of spending pocket money. So, I'm not going to be getting that, and then you may be going, well, Hex, why don't you go with the R9 290X? And then whatever brand of card you want from that. Well, I looked up the specs for the R9 290. It's practically a tongue twister. I looked up the differences between the two. Other than stream processors, stream capacitors, I think it's stream capacitors, and the megahertz clock, actually the gigahertz clock on one of them, it isn't really that different. Heating is the same, cooling is the same, and it's like $300 cheaper. So yeah, R9 290 Sapphire Tri-X, and if you don't know, and if you are too lazy to Google, that is a incredibly long card, 11.3 inches, I think. Yeah, and it's got 3 fans on it, and it's incredibly cool. It's one of the coolest out there. It's even cooler than the Windforce, which is renowned for its coolness. And I was originally going to go with the XFX one, because they offer a lifetime warranty on their cards, which is honestly awesome. So if you plan on doing a lot of overclocking, I'm not sure if the XFX covers overclocking, but whatever. I was going to go with that, but a lot of people said it had some heating issues, and somebody actually opened it up and found out that only one heat pipe actually hits the actual hottest part of it, where there's like 5 leading there, but only one actually touches it. So I was like, okay, not gonna get that. So I decided to go with the Sapphire. I don't particularly trust Sapphire, because I got a card from them in the past, and it was a whole bunch of crap that I had to go through just to get it working. But I'm going to take a chance on them again, because they've got... It's a factory overclocked card, and I don't do any overclocking. To me, I mean, I'll overclock a processor if I need to, but I don't touch overclocking on graphics cards, because yeah, it's cool and all that, and A, I have to pay for my power bill, and B, it just seems that when you put under a load a lot, as gamers do, you shouldn't really be screwing what's already been tested to work. And that's my philosophy on it. I mean, you can have different philosophies on it, but that's what I think it should be. That's what I'm choosing to go with. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be replacing my computer. I'm still deciding really on the RAM. The Corsair Vengeance Pro Black 16GB looks cool and all, and it's been recommended, but I'm still kind of looking around for that. And yeah, other than that, the really only other upgrades I'm going to do to my system is that, well, the card itself only has 2 DVIs, 1 HDMI, and 1 DisplayPort. It does not have it does not have a mini DisplayPort, and that's what I'm currently using as an adapter between DVI to mini DisplayPort to run my Eyefinity setup. So, what I am going to be doing, and yes, I realize I'm spending a lot of time on top of this building, but honestly, I love the top of this building, because it's essentially a free kill farm, and it allows you view the area, you get to spot, you get to do all that stuff, and that's pretty cool. And what a lot of people aren't realizing is that there's a little blue Dorito that appears whenever that elevator door opens, and it's not a friendly. And it is a friendly, so you can tell. No blue Dorito. When the doors open, I shoot him, and hello, Mr. Revenge on Mr. Revenge. Revenge on Mr. EMD. And it is a D, I thought it was an O. Whatever. Yeah. I can't remember what I was talking about. Something about GPUs and graphics cards. Oh yeah, connections. My main monitor, which is the 27-inch, I'm going to be moving over to an HDMI cable. So that should be slightly better for resolution, for transference and stuff like that. And then I'm really excited, really, because I haven't upgraded my computer in a long time, and it's going to be fun to get to put one together again. And I will not be forgetting thermal paste. But for cooling, I'm not going to be using a stock heatsink cooler that comes with Intel chips. Simply because the 4790K already runs, even though it's cooler than the 4770, the 4790 is still kind of hot. So what I'm going to be doing is simply because I'm going to be putting that CPU under a lot of load because of rendering and a whole bunch of stuff like that, I'm going to be getting the Enermax LickTech 240. And what that is essentially is it's 120 millimeters? Yeah, 2 120 millimeters fans on a radiator, which connects to a CPU cooler thing that you screw onto the top of your CPU, and essentially it's water cooling. Yeah. So that'll keep it real nice and cool, because I'm a bit of a temperature freak, because the idea of something melting and catching fire is not exactly very appealing to me, especially when I'm spending about $1,000 on this entire upgrade anyway. So the more cooling I have for it, the better. Yeah, the 760 case and the 730 case, they're practically the same thing, have lots of space. On the top, there's space for 3 140 millimeter fans, so that's wow. and that's where the 240 radiator bracket's going to go. On the back, there's there's a 140 millimeter fan that comes with the case, and on the front, there's two 120 millimeters. I can't remember. I watched the video 3 days ago, but I can't remember what's in it that well. Do I get the AWS? Yes, I do. And then it's got on the bottom, it's got space for two 140 millimeters, I think. And essentially that means you can flip your power supply upside down and stick it on the bottom so it can get directly cool air from the bottom of your computer, and it does have like feet on the bottom to elevate it, because in this room where I have my computer and stuff like that, there's thick carpet. Not thick carpet, it's really flat carpet, but like I said, temperature freak. So yeah, nice cool air from the bottom, and I might buy a separate fan, because I'm going to have to open up the top covering anyway, because it's got this magnetic cover on the top to give it more of a sleek look, but if you need it, you can take the cover off for extra airflow, and I'm going to have to take the cover off to fit in the gig of airflow to the radiator, so I might stick a 140 millimeter fan up there too. I'm just going to, they go for like $5, it's not really that big of an issue. So I might stick a 140 millimeter fan up there just to add more airflow. So that'll be one fan on the back, one fan on the bottom for the power supply, two fans on the front, a liquid cooling for the CPU, and then one fan on the top. Technically, that's what I'm planning on doing. And then on the bottom, there's also another space. This sounds like a promotional video. I'm not being paid by any of these people to say this anyway. This is just what I've decided on. On the bottom, there's space for another fan too if you take out one of the modular drive bays, and there's also built-in SSD mounts. It's a really good case, essentially. But yeah, that's what's going on. I'm going to be getting back in with the Battlefield stuff. I'm actually going to be away this weekend, but that should not impact my deliverance of the Battlefield Commando mode or the Multiplayer Monday for next week. That I promise will not be late, as I'm going to be filming it later tonight. And yes, I know it's not Monday, but like I said, I'm going to be away, so I won't have time to film it, because I leave on Thursday. So, yeah. Sorry for all the disturbances with the main computer and main series, even though you may be thinking, oh wait, you said you were going to do the thermal paste tonight, so it should be fine for tonight. Yeah, okay, it's going to be fine for tonight, but if I leave on Thursday and I've got Wednesday, so Wednesday to me is packing. All it is. And so I won't have time to record, render, and output a whole bunch of videos for you, so sorry guys, you're going to have to wait until next week to get the main series back on track. But dun, 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 we are going to be adding a new series to the lineup as kind of like an apology, I guess. I am going to be recording like the single player of Battlefield 4. Not a lot of people do full playthroughs of Battlefield 4 single player, and I kind of want the gun unlocks for it. So you guys get to see that. Apparently it's not that long, like 4 hours or so, so anyway, it's added footage and added content, which is good. Good. Yeah. That's pretty much all I got to say on the matter. Sorry for the computer issues. That's what's coming up. Yeah. I'm kind of looking around. I made a list of all the things I had to talk about, and I've covered them already. I've got 2 minutes of this video left, so let's talk about the game footage. And what a brilliant time to come in! This guy did something. He shoved a jeep into the elevator. He died somehow from an explosion. I think it was maybe a claymore or whatever. Anyway, the door's open. There's friendlies up here. They get it. They're going, what the hell? So essentially, I get in. I back it out. And I start driving around with it, and I reverse it, and I see the doors are closed. So I kind of drive a little bit. I hop into the seat, and then I'm on the mount here with the launcher, and then I see this. I think it's the same guy. He gets in again, and then he starts to drive it around. He tries to fit up the staircase, but it won't work like that. I think he's trying to get defense against choppers. It's kind of dumb because the mounted launcher on the top doesn't really extend that high up. Like, I can't look that high up because a chopper could just sit over me and shoot me. I couldn't be able to get him because he's too high up. Anyway, it's cool. I had fun kind of raining some fire. down on people without hitting anything. So, anyway, that's it for this multiplayer Monday. Technically Tuesday, but we'll just ignore that fact. So yeah, sorry about all the interruptions that have been happening lately with sicknesses and all that stuff, so it shouldn't be happening much in the future. And I am really excited for No Man's Sky. It looks absolutely amazing. If you haven't seen it, then go Google it, YouTube it, whatever. Anyway, I would like to thank you guys for watching. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, comment, and all that good stuff, and I will see you guys next time. This is the Hexagon Zero, signing out.